discuss a little bit about the learning that is impacted by Web 2.0. I have here a list of 7 characteristics that I think Web 2.0 learning um, it looks like. These are things that I think Web 2.0 learning are key features. So the first is that it enables ubiquitous learning, and the idea here is that students can collaborate with anyone, anytime, anywhere, and on virtually any devices. The classroom is no longer the only place where students learn. They can carry the conversation they start in the classroom into the beyond the classroom, and so the idea is that it will allow students to be able to learn anywhere they have an internet connection. And so nowadays, a lot of students have their devices where they have data plans, and they can continue to sort of contribute to class discussion forums, or they can add content to whatever course site they're working on, even beyond the classroom time. The second feature is that it centers around the student, and this is where I think one of the powerful features of the Web 2.0 tools is that it really does put the student at the center of the learning experience. Students are essentially the user and the contributor of a lot of the content that happens on the web and in their courses, and so this is one of the things that where it shifts the uh, bottleneck, I guess, way of teaching that we used to from the teacher to now enabling every student to really take control of their learning. A third feature is the idea that it fosters social interactions. Students are able to explore, share, engage, connect with people and content in meaningful ways that they weren't able to before, because with social networking and all sorts of other communications tools, students are able to now not just work on something on their own, but they can collaborate, and we'll show you a couple of examples of how that happens with the collaboration tools. A fourth feature is about the idea of encouraging participation. Students are really asked to engage and participate in their own learning in a way that wasn't possible before. With Web 2.0 technology, the idea is that every user is a participant. There's really nobody in the audience anymore. Everybody's actively adding to it, and the more you add to it, the more you get out of it, and that's sort of the idea here. Number 5 is this idea of focusing on higher order skills. Web 2.0 tools expose students to learning at all levels, especially at the higher order of like analyzing and evaluating and creating. It's sort of the higher end of the Bloom's taxonomy, and the more students are able to engage at that level, I think the more developed their ideas and their ability to think more critically can happen. So that's a very important feature. And then 6 is this idea that it accommodates varying modes of learning. So students who may be, let's say in the classroom, a little bit uncomfortable speaking up or having sort of anxieties in terms of speaking up in a classroom may find the interactions on the web much easier, much more comfortable, and it's more conducive to their communication style, so that in a classroom where they may not be able to speak up because they're not comfortable, on a discussion forum they would be able to freely express their ideas in a way that they wouldn't be otherwise. And so that's, I think, a very important feature as well. And then lastly, that Web 2.0 tools, it really does develop creativity. There are a lot of ways to use Web 2.0 tools and a lot of features and bells and whistles, and all these things I think contribute or engender creativity among the students because the tools are so flexible and so robust. So that's a quick list of the features of Web 2.0 learning. And let me now turn our attention to the feature tools that we'll be focusing on today. So the first is PBWorks, and I will just give a quick overview of PBWorks and a quick overview of Google Documents, and I'm actually going to go to a real live instance and go over the demo of that during the session, and then and so that's how we'll proceed. So PBWorks essentially is a wiki tool. It allows users to capture knowledge, share files, and manage projects on one shared and secured site. And so that's a very important students are able to work together to interpret text or to author text or to share ideas and to improve communication all in one place. And it really does facilitate a lot of the learning that happens in a typical classroom. Some of the key features, is that it really can be this one site where everything that happens in classroom can take place. It can be a sort of its own course management system. And then the feature of the commenting on every page enables faculty and students to be able to sort of speak and have a conversation with one another. And that's also an important element, as we mentioned earlier, that it's very social. It can be social in the sense that people are able to communicate and interact in a way that is a lot more dynamic than a typical course management system. And then finally, the ability to manage files and documents, it's just very easy in a PBWorks account. So that's PBWorks, and then let me turn our attention to Google Docs, and then I will then go to the live instance. So Google Docs is part of a suite of tools. Within Google Docs, they have a presentation tool, they have a spreadsheet tool, they have a drawing tool, they have a form tool, and they also have a few others. But today, I'm going to be focusing on the word processing tool within Google Docs. And essentially, it's a tool that allows multiple users to create documents and to collaborate in real time and in a synchronous kind of manner. So you don't have to be on the same document at the same time to work on it. You can work on it together at the same time, or you can work on it, whenever you have time. There are really great features that's part of this tool, and things like comment stream, which allows you to keep track of conversations. Again, it's a very social thing. You can communicate back and forth. You can also have the ability to collaborate with people who don't even have a Google account. And that's a really neat feature, because if one of the drawbacks people in the past have said about Google, oh, I don't have a Google account, so I can't use it. But really, they can. As long as the originator of the author of the document has a Google account, then that document can then be shared with somebody who doesn't have an account, and they can equally collaborate on a document without having any problems. And then finally, it's also very mobile friendly and device agnostic, meaning you can essentially use an iOS iPhone or Android device or any tablets, and it will be very, very easy to use on a mobile device. So that's sort of an overview of these tools. Let me now switch over to a live instance of these tools so that you can see what we're talking about. So let me share my screen here. Hold on 1 second. All right, so here we go. So the first tool that you see here is the PBWorks, my PBWorks account. I used this PBWorks to teach a course a few years ago. As you can see, it's from fall of '08, so it's quite a few years ago. And it was on the writing for the social sciences and humanities. And what you're seeing here is sort of the front page of the course. I have here sort of the important links that students would need to know, such as their syllabus, their weekly schedule, any kind of assignments they may have. I held conferences throughout the semester, and so they can check to see when their scheduled conferences and group projects. So this is really just a home page where all the information they need is all right here. And you can also see on the right-hand side, there are the sidebars has some additional links that they can go to. So these are essentially the class resources, and then if they need help with using PBWorks, they can go to these help links as well. Just to let you know, a few years ago, PBWorks used to be called PBWiki, and then they got a bot, and then it changed its name to be PBWorks. So that's why it's PBWiki here instead of PBWorks. And then there's also additional writing resources that I thought were useful for my students, and I put those resources there, as well as citation and other kinds of resources that are relevant to the course. So that's sort of the home page view that you can use as a course site for your class. I want to show you in particular one page of this, which is the class minutes. So the class minute is, the idea of the class minute is that every class period, a student would be assigned to take notes of what occurred during that class. And this is a useful document for those who either missed something while class was happening, or someone who wasn't there and want to know what they missed, and they can refer to the class minutes. And so what I did was I essentially modeled the first entry, as you can see here, and I was able to sort of model that. And from that point on, it was different students taking over for different classes. And you can see that, I was the first author of this, but then another student took over after that. And then so it's a really dynamic and collaborative process, because you have multiple students contributing to this one document that over time it's a very useful thing to do. So so you can see there's more. So that's one illustration of how the PBWorks it functions, is that it allows somebody just to create a page and multiple people contribute to it. I want to next show you the group project page, and this is where you can see groups of students working together on one project. And in this class, I assigned these research papers where they would be groups of 3 or 4 students in one group working on one research paper. And so I'm just showing you here an example of group 2, where, for example, if we go into the group project, you can see that there are these 3 students working on their project proposal. And it's neat that you can have multiple people contributing to the same document without having to worry about who has what part of the assignment or what version are they on, because everything is really tracked here and allows really anybody to be able to jump onto this document and start working and see where people have left off. So it's a very I think neat feature of the PBWorks. And then on the bottom here you can see there's a comment that students can leave for one another if they have any about where they left off or questions they may have. So so that's an example of how the PBWorks can be used for group projects. And finally, last thing I want to show you is this student portfolio page, if you will, portfolio. So I have a student's portfolio where this is her. The portfolio project in my class is essentially a capstone project where at the end of the course they have to put together all the different components of the things they've done and to sort of showcase the work they've done and be able to talk about some of the things they've done. And so here you can see we have Angela's portfolio, and she essentially has all the different elements of what she's done, and be able to, you can look into her particular part of, maybe this is not the right one. Let me see if I can find another one that you can, but there's a, I'm not successful in finding one right now because I think I lost the link to the one I was going to show you. But the idea is that you can use this as a portfolio for the end of the course, where a student can essentially either create their own PBWorks account and have their own sort of sets of pages, or they can create it within your course work site and be able to kind of have, like what I have here, a link to all the different all the different students and their own wiki. So essentially that's it for the PBWorks. There are lots and lots of stuff to go through. If you want to download the slides for today's presentation, there are active links on that page where it's featuring PBWorks. You can go through the user manual or to look at sample sites, and you can see what you can really do with this tool. So let me switch gears now and go to Google Docs. So Google Docs is a collaborative word processing program. You can see here is a sample document. We have currently 2 other viewers on this document besides myself. So I can be, for example, working on this document up here while my Deborah, on the other hand, is working on this other part of the document. So you can see it's a really neat way to to collaborate in real time. And you can see on the right-hand side that it keeps track of who's in this document and who's sort of working on it. And on the top here, you can see that it's the typical rich text editor that you'll find in most word processing application. You see some of the features like you can change the styling, the fonts, the size, and other kind of formatting. And but it's a little bit scaled down. It doesn't have all the features you'll typically use, I guess, that you will find in a desktop word processing program like Microsoft Word. But I think for the most part, it is essential. The essential features are there, and you can do a lot of things with it. I use this tool a lot to collaborate with colleagues when we're writing an article together. Instead of having to send email documents back and forth, we have this one document where it keeps track of everything for us, and we don't have to worry about what version we're on and what kind of comments we have for each other. There's a comment stream I want to show you. On the top here, you see comments, and then if you click on Show Stream, this is where it will essentially show you every time you make a comment on this document, it will have an entry, and every time that there's a comment, you can see that it adds to the stream, and you can reply to a particular entry, and you can within that keep adding. So you can see that they're sort of nested in the sense that you can see there's my main comment, and here's a two response to that comment, and here's the main comment, and I can respond to this one if I want. So it's really a useful and helpful tool as you work on a document to be able to communicate back and forth. And if there's issues that are resolved, you just click resolve, and what that does is it will then put a check mark here, and that means if you have a list of issues and then you see all check marks, then you've addressed all those issues. And along with that, you can also see the history of this document. So under File, you can see the revision history, and this is where every time a document is saved, it keeps a copy of that. And so this is what the original document looked like, and then this is after 2 revisions, and then after 6 revisions, and this is the most current. So it's another nice feature to have in Google Doc. The sharing feature is very rich as well. If you click on the sharing feature here, you can see that I have options to make currently this document is public. So anybody who's on the internet essentially can look up this document if they want, or I can change it to something like a little more restrictive and have only people who have the link can connect to this document. Or you can have it just private so that only people who have been shared with this, shared on this document can actually work on it. And then also you can, the access, they can edit, they can comment, or they can only view. So it's really, I think, a nice set of sharing functionality. And then finally, the last thing I want to show you is this ability to, once you're done with a document, to then, let me see if I can, to download this as different formats. You have ODT, which is your Open Office format, your PDF, rich text format, text, Word, or HTML. So when you're done with this and you want to export it or save a copy on your computer, then you can do so by exporting it in one of those formats. So, so that essentially concludes my Google Doc discussion demo. So let me now go back to my slides. And I want to, again, if you want any of the additional, or you want to explore more, you can always download the presentation slides, which is on the bottom left pod of this screen, and you can download that PDF of the presentation, and the links all within that are active and live, and so you can connect to it, and it'll give you more information. And for each of these, I also gave you some similar tools, so that if you want to look at other tools besides Google Doc, you can also look at these 3 other tools. And the same thing with PBWorks. There are some additional tools that are similar functionality. So there are some more resources I have on this page. There's a couple of directories you can go to explore Web 2.0 tools. These are really, really rich directories. You can find them organized by different categories and usage and so on. And then there's some resources from EDUCAUSE on Web 2.0 tools as well, and you can definitely read more. There are, I think, hundreds, if not thousands, of resources about this on the EDUCAUSE site. And then I want to just let you know that I'm definitely available for any individual or group consultation. So if you find that you want to use some of these tools in your class and you just don't know where to start or how to do it, I'm more than happy to meet with you. Just send me an email and we can schedule an appointment and we can talk about it. So I think that's it for me. I'm going to hand